Hey, hi, and hello. I am Troy the Art Boy, and today I'm going to be designing yet another unconfirmed experiment from Lilo and Stitch series. So, a bit of backstory about this project. I go over this in pretty much every single video because I'm never sure who has and hasn't seen past videos. So please, please, please just bear with me. I will make it as short as I possibly can. But essentially, I've been working with a partner of mine named Lilo's Library over on Instagram to design each and every unconfirmed Lilo and Stitch experiment. I have free reign to do pretty much anything I want with the designs, with a few caveats. The first one being that the names are going to come from the end credits of Leroy and Stitch the movie. They list out every experiment's name along with their corresponding number. So I defer to that list, and I also defer to this I guess sort of common knowledge within the Lilo and Stitch fan art community that for every 100 experiments, so as of for instance, experiments 001 through 099, they all fall underneath one category. The next 100 experiments fall into a separate category, and so on and so forth. For that first one, though, that is going to be the household helpers, essentially experiments designed to make Jumba's life easier, even though some, or maybe most of them, don't actually end up doing that. That was the intent behind their initial design. So, with that being said, I'm going to put on the screen right now a list of all the other different categories for you guys to look at. But for the sake of this video, those first 100 are the only ones that really matter here. So, bear with me. Today's cousin is number 046, named Wedgie. Today's drawing is, well, it's a bit of a weird one, I think. Quick story. I had initially drawn my own interpretation for Wedgie back in April of 2023, I think, after falling in love with the red pandas at the DC Zoo. I'm going to throw that drawing in here. It is based heavily on red pandas, as you can see, but that actually has nothing to do with today's design whatsoever. My partner in this project, again, Lilo Library, and I decided to go with something a bit different. I still might end up using my original design in some capacity later on, but for right now, keep them in the back of your mind, but it's again nothing to do with today's video. In fact, this iteration of 046 I used is very, very, very loosely based off of that of another artist. Their name is Sketch Lampoon, and I go over this also in just about every video because I can. And I think it's just, I don't know, I think it's really fun to shout out other artists. But basically, Sketch Lampoon used to work with my friend Leo's Library to design each and every unconfirmed experiment many years ago, except they never finished. So now I'm doing basically that same project. And they gave me permission to use their designs either in part or in whole, so long as I credit them. So that is what I am doing here. Even though, again, it is like it's it's a very loose interpretation of their work. I don't know. It doesn't really take anything away from me to shout them out. So yeah, but I'm gonna throw up on the screen now their original design, just so one, it gets as much screen time as possible because I think it's such a fun design and it deserves it, and two, so you guys can kind of have it in the front of your mind while I'm drawing, sort of the two side by side, and kind of be like, oh, these are the inspirations he took from that original drawing, and you can even see the things that I sort of came up out of whole cloth. I really like the idea of giving 046 a set of antenna, and I was also a fan of giving him claws, although I did end up making them more of a claw hand hybrid situation, just something different. And I actually got that idea from this other cousin whose name and number I am currently blanking on, but I'll throw them up on the screen for you guys right now. Lastly, I'm not sure what the elongated midsection is supposed to be or do here, but I assume it makes them able to stretch and contract their body depending on the height of their victims, let's call them. And I tried to keep that same spirit, although I ended up making the midsection here more of a accordion than a metal rod or midsection. This is the super fun part of the video where I realize that I only wrote down about half of my script. So for the rest, I'm just gonna kind of off the old dome and just kind of go with it. So what did I change? So for starters, I changed the head shape. I played with this a bit. I had an idea in mind of what I wanted to do, and I wanted to give 'em a bit of a not an overbite, but more of like a droopy upper lip. I gave them a big nose. I changed the spacing of the eyes too to make it look more not humanoid, but I guess I mean compared to the original design, I guess a little bit more humanoid. Uh, I also changed the colors a bit as well. So I went with something that was still green because I did like the idea of making them green and also just like fits well in the lineup of other experiments I had done up until that point. But I also really like blue. And one thing about me is if I can fit blue into a design, I'm just going to do that. And so that's what I did. I gave it this more like ocean seafoam green situation. And I don't know. I think it really works. For the colors, since I brought it up, I also like the idea of using purple. I think purple is a really good accent color to use for green, and I think it really fits within the franchise because it's sort of familiar. So there are experiments or experiment. I'm never. It's one experiment, but two consciousnesses. I think with Swapper. I'm gonna throw them up on the screen for you guys now, but that color combination is always really stuck with me, and I wanted to use it here, which, if you guys are ever designing fan art from a franchise, that sometimes is a really good way of doing it. Taking things that are uh, familiar within that universe, but used in a completely different context. I think it makes it feel more cohesive with the rest of the project. So, again, that is what I went with here. Now, the fun part, why on earth would Jumba, the mad evil genius that he is, create an experiment designed to essentially just give people wedgies, and how would that be helpful in his day today? Well, the short answer is it's not helpful. It was just he was made out of spite essentially. But to be a little more specific, he was being criticized by some of his evil genius colleagues about being so predictable and boring. So he did what any of us would have done, and he proved them wrong by creating an experiment in this case to target the elastic waistband of people's pants and pull them down. So yeah, that's just what he did, which I think is very jumbo coded. I think he's a funny guy, but he has some hate in his heart, and he's I don't know, always keeps on her toes. This might be a shorter video. I have no idea, but that's really all I have to say about the design. This one was pretty straightforward. So without further ado, here he is. Experiment number 046 would debut in the episode called Dressed for Distress, and they would activate in an etiquette class when a badly behaved child who thinks he's playing some loose marbles accidentally gets them wet with some mop water. The episode synopsis would be as follows. When Stitch is enrolled in etiquette lessons to improve his manners and wardrobe, his attempts to behave like a perfect gentleman are upended by the activation of a rather mischievous experiment, or rather two experiments. Experiment 046 and 047, which are designed to humiliate people with their precision, as Wedgies and Pansings turn Kokaya Town Hall into a disaster zone. However, Lilo sees the comedic potential in the prankster's talents and guides them toward a more audience friendly outlet. Can public embarrassment be transformed into public entertainment? Let me know what you guys think. So, I am done with that. And this is the part of video where if you guys like this video, or honestly, even if you didn't, be sure to like and subscribe. Every like and follow, it really, really, really does help a lot. So I work at a school, as I think I mentioned this in some videos prior, and I'm currently off for the summer, which is good for me. And also, if you guys enjoy my videos, hopefully good for you because I really do plan on getting ahead of making a bunch of videos and having them posted every week, hopefully on Friday or maybe Saturday, depending on my summer job that I have. So, yeah, please keep a lookout for that. And I really do appreciate your guys' patience. It's been crazy, and going from working 60-hour weeks down to working like 15, 20-hour weeks has been a bit of a culture shock, but I am getting used to it and I am trying to catch up on commissions and stuff and just really devote this summer into my art and to my art business and to making videos. And yes, some of these little stitch videos, but also video essays and just drawing new type of things over on my Instagram. Which reminds me, if you guys like this video, you can find more of my drawings over on Instagram at Troy the Art Boy, or you can follow my friend over there at Leo Library over on Instagram as well. I think we are 2 months ahead of where I am on the YouTube channel right now. So if you guys want to have a sneak peek of what's to come, go check that out. Um, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching and for sticking by me over these past couple months. I know I've been so inconsistent and it's not a good look, but I really do appreciate it. And yeah, you will see me in the next one. Bye.